Hey guys, you have probably just got done with your Satomer, okay, on your project. And if you're thinking about doing a live action film, you've come to the right place because here's what you're going to do next. You have to make a live action script. The good news is you do not have to write down everything you're going to say, but you do have to explain what it is you're going to be doing and where you're at and how you're doing it. So, I made this video to help you understand that. So let's take a look at what I have. So you're going to go to Roman Project Satomer section, and right underneath the project sign-up sheet where you signed up, you are going to click Live Action Script. You're going to click on this, and when you do so, you're going to get this. Okay? And you have to explain to me in 3 scenes, because you have 3, right? Let's take a look. You have 3 body paragraphs. You have subclaim body 1, you have subclaim body 2, and you have subclaim body 3. So you have 3 scenes that you are going to explain to me what your paper was about. Okay, it says title of your film, who's making the film, we got actor or actresses in the film, hook and thesis. How are we going to know what your hook and your thesis paragraph is? How are we going to see or hear about this? Where are you at in the opening scene and so forth? All the way down here to the final scene. So we have, how are you going to explain your thesis paragraph? Then we should be moving to your first body paragraph, which has to do with your first subclaim. Notice this is in red for a purpose. Then your middle scene is your middle body paragraph. Notice this is purple for a reason. Purple body paragraph. And your final scene is going to be your last subclaim paragraph or your third body paragraph. So let's take a look at what I did. So here's my red, here's my purple, here's my orange. And again, up here is my thesis paragraph. Here's what I did. I'm making a film with my 2 best friends, Todd and Aaron. But I asked our other friend, Leslie, to be in the film too. Even though she's not in our group, she's going to be in the film with us. And then we'll help her out with her film that she makes. And then my mom's going to be doing the filming. So my paper was about Julius Caesar, and that's what Aaron and Todd did also. But we all kind of put together what we want this thing to be, because we have 3 different papers about Julius Caesar. But we're going to focus on Julius Caesar conquering Gaul and crossing the Rubicon. We're going to focus on Julius Caesar giving land and food and money back to the poor. And then we're going to focus on Julius Caesar being killed and stabbed by his friend Brutus. But we're going to have fun with it. We're going to do this in a very tongue-in-cheek, that means kind of a fun way. So we're going to call it the Ancient Roman Dating Game, because there was a show back in the 70s and 80s called The Dating Game, where they would take a woman and then put up a blinder between 3 bachelors, and she'd ask them questions, and at the end of the show, she had to pick the bachelor that gave the best answers to what she asked, and then they'd send him on a date. So we're going to do that with Ancient Roman Dating Game. So here we go. So who's making the film? Actually, it's going to be Kurt Morris and Todd Stephanus. Oh, and we can't forget, I forgot my friend Aaron. Aaron Oldstead and Todd Stephanus. So the 3 of us are making the film together. Kurt, Aaron, and Todd. Okay. Actor or actresses in the roles. Okay. So Kurt Morris is Julius Caesar, me. Todd Stephanus is Gaius Brutus, my best friend. Leslie Prunald is Lady Minerva. She's the bachelorette seeking a date. And Aaron Oldstead is playing Scipio Servius, who's going to be a plebeian. And my mom is filming us. So she has the camera and she's panning back and forth to us and zooming in and out with her phone. It's going to be awesome. Okay, how is the hook and the thesis going to be shown? How are we going to learn about the hook? Well, before we start filming anything, I'm going to stand in front of the camera, and I'm going to have on my toga because I'm all ready for my scenes. And before we play the dating game, I explain what my hook and my thesis paragraph are. And I will not be reading the script. I'm going to have it memorized. I am not going to stand in front of the camera with a piece of paper and read it. I am going to memorize the thesis paragraph. Okay? Now, maybe it's my thesis paragraph I read. Maybe it's Aaron's thesis paragraph that he reads. Or maybe it's Todd's thesis paragraph that he reads. It doesn't matter. Or maybe it's one we put together of all three of our papers. I don't care. But it definitely has to talk about the fact that I'm going to be filming Caesar crossing the Rubicon, Caesar defeating Gaul, Caesar giving land and food to the poor, and Caesar dying. That has to be in that thesis and hook. Okay. Where are you at in the opening scene? So this is my first body paragraph. Where are you at? Well, we're at my house, Kurt's house, in the basement. And it's made up to look like ancient Rome. And there's a sheet hanging between us so that Leslie cannot see us. And then my mom, you can't see her, but she's filming everything. Okay, what are the costumes? Well, I'm wearing a purple toga because, well, I'm a patrician. I'm Caesar. Todd is wearing a red toga because he's a patrician. He's Gaius Brutus. Leslie is Lady Minerva, and she is wearing a green toga because she's looking so good as a patrician female. And Aaron's wearing a brown toga because he's a plebeian. He doesn't own any land. He's just a working dude. He's a scrub. Props used. Okay, well, what's going to be there to make it look like old Rome? I can't just have a scene where I'm standing there wearing a t-shirt, right? So what's it look like? Well, there's going to be an old vase with flowers in it that kind of gives it a Roman feel. There's going to be a sign hanging up above that says the Old Roman Forum. There's going to be an old chair that we're all sitting on with purple and gold pillows to make it look like it's an old Roman setting. I will have a plastic sword. Todd will have a shield that we made out of cardboard, and it looks pretty Roman. Aaron's going to have a rake because he's a plebeian. And Leslie's going to have a mirror that she keeps looking into because she's Lady Minerva. You know what else we need? We need to add one more thing. We need to add a sign that says Roman dating game. Oh. That sign's going to be hanging up above too, so we know what show we're on. See, it's a tongue-in-cheek. We're making fun of a TV show, but learning about ancient Caesar, or ancient Rome and Julius Caesar. Who are the characters? Caesar, Brutus, Minerva, and Servius. Okay. Now, based on my first body paragraph, right? Based on my first subclaim paragraph, what are we going to learn? So this is the important part, folks. I need to explain what's happening. Okay? I'm just going to read this. We meet the cast of the dating game. Leslie is introduced as a single patrician lady who is looking for Mr. Rhydicus. Get it? Roman Rhydicus. And I'm introduced as bachelor number 1. Todd is introduced as bachelor number 2. And Aaron is bachelor number 3. She doesn't know who we are, but we explain who we are to the camera. Like, I'm Julius Caesar. And Todd would say, I'm Gaius Brutus. And Aaron would say, I'm Scipio Servius. Okay? And then Leslie, in this first scene, asks each one of us, because she cannot see us because of the sheet, what would you call a good time, right? What do you guys do for fun? Well, from the first subclaim paragraph, this is the part that I want everyone to know about Caesar conquering Gaul and Caesar crossing the Rubicon with his army to declare war on Rome. So, I say this, right? So she says to me, bachelor number 1, what do you call a good time? And then I just write down, not writing everything I'm going to say, but I explain what I'm going to say and do, right? So I say, I explain I like conquering things like the country of Gaul because it's romantic. And I explain how I did it. And then I explain I like crossing moonlit rivers with my soldiers, and I would declare war on anyone who does not like doing those things. Because again, my first body paragraph is about those things. And I give a little bit more detail, but I don't need to explain everything. Well, while I'm doing that, the other two, Bachelor 2, Todd, and Bachelor 3, Aaron, they're kind of looking at me funny. Like, what's this guy talking about? And then, of course, the scene goes to them, and Todd explains his idea of a good time, and so does Aaron when it's his turn. But we don't need to write down that because that's not in my first paragraph. But in the scene, you're going to see them talking about it. So you can say whatever you want at that point. All right, middle scene. All right, this is the purple one, so I might as well just make this thing purple. So this is the purple part. And it says, once again, at my house in the basement. We're in the same things. We have the same things that we, props we're using, same props, same people. Okay, what is happening in this scene? Because this is our body paragraph 2, our subclaim 2 paragraph. Okay, so here we go. Leslie asks each one of us, because once again she can't see us, what would we do if we were on a date with Lady Minerva? Well, she asked Bachelor number 1, that's me, what we would do. And I explained, for our date, hey man, this is what we're going to do. You and me, Lady Minerva, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give money and land back to the poor and make sure that the plebeians that live around us, that they have enough to eat. I say, you can help me on this date. We can defend the rights of the poor against the rich Senate. We'll give back to the people what they need. Well, obviously, Bachelor 2, Todd, is not too happy with that because he's a rich senator like I am. And he looks at me and says, I am not going to let you do that. I'm going to stop you from doing this. But then the camera goes to Bachelor number 3, Aaron. He's sitting there in his brown toga, and he looks at me and says, man, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I hope you win this dating game. You're awesome. And he gives me a high five. Because again, my second paragraph is about him giving land and money back to the poor. And in our final scene, ladies and gentlemen, this should be orange, right? Because it's our final scene. Still at my house, still at the basement. Still wearing those clothes, the togas. Here's all the cool stuff we still have. Those are the people in the scene. And finally, last scene. Leslie, she can't see us because she's on the sheet. Leslie picks me as her mystery date. But when she pulls the sheet back, Bachelor number 1, I pick you to go on a date with. And she pulls back the sheet. And from my third subclaim in my Sotomer, I break into a sword fight with my friend Gaius Brutus, Bachelor number 2. And he explains, I can't let you give things to the poor. I'm rich. You can't do that. And just as Leslie pulls back the sheet, she sees him stab me in the back. Because remember, in my body paragraph, the last one, I explained Julius Caesar gets stabbed by Brutus. And he says, just like from the play, Et tu, Brute, et tu. And then Aaron stabs me, or Todd stabs me in the back, and I fall to the ground. And then Aaron is so appalled, he stabs Brutus for stabbing me. And he says, Caesar was a friend of the poor. And the whole time this is going on, Leslie, Lady Minerva, standing there with a terrible look on her face. And then as Todd drops to the floor, because Aaron's the last one standing, Leslie looks at the camera and shrugs. And then she puts her arm around Aaron, and they stroll arm in arm off out of the scene together. Because he's the last one, and I guess Lady Minerva, the patrician, picks the plebeian, the last man left, to go on a date with. The end. Now, that sounds like a pretty fun video. And you could make something like that. Have somebody film it. Maybe you film it. Maybe have your parents involved. Maybe have your friends involved. Maybe have your family involved. But this live action script needs to explain what you're doing. Notice how I didn't put all the words I'm using in it. Notice how I have a layout. This is going to help you be organized. When you have other people in the scene, you have to have it laid out so you know what they're doing. And you guys can kind of say what you want and cut and retake and all that stuff. But you have to kind of show me what this looks like and what's happening. So that when I look at this, I'm going to look at this and go, okay, so this is what I'm learning. Plebeians, okay, everybody has enough to eat because Caesar gave things back. That makes sense. Where are you? Okay, in the basement at your house. Who's involved? Okay. And then Todd gets mad. Okay, that makes sense. Great. That's what I'm looking for. And this is going to make you a better director, understanding your shot selection and scene selection and who's doing what. But no matter what, have fun with it. Have as many cuts as you want, but make sure that it's all edited together in the end. If you want to make commercials, go right ahead. Have commercials. I know it says 8 minutes. Let me go up here at the top. I know it says between 5 and 8 minutes, but if it's a little longer, that's okay. Have fun with your commercials if you add them. You can even have, if you want, a bloopers reel at the end. That's always fun. But do me a favor, the video at least has to be 5 minutes. Don't give me 2 minutes of video and 5 minutes of bloopers. Your video has to at least be 5 to 8 minutes, and then you can have bloopers afterwards. All right, guys, have fun. Follow this advice, and I'll see you guys later.